welcome to the Called Collective. It's your boy Jake, and we exist to equip the next generation of ministry leaders. So excited for the topic that we have to talk with you about today, because I don't know about you, but I nerd out about calendars. The reason why we're talking about calendars is because you have to figure out how to control your calendar before other people take control of it for you. Why is this of utmost importance for us to talk about in ministry? Well, believe it or not, pastors are needed by a lot of people. When you're working in a congregation, whether you're a youth pastor, whether you're a lead pastor or a staff pastor, whatever, your number one job is to people. Okay? It is to build relationships, to counsel them, to be there with them and disciple them and raise them up in the faith, and to equip them to do God's work. That is the essence of the pastor's job. And because a pastor's number one priority is relating and ministering to people, people then view pastors as the ones they go to when they have a lot of problems and crap in their life that they got to deal with. Even if it's from really petty things to really devastating things, ranging anywhere from their grandmother passing away to them discovering they have a chronic illness to a child running away, very, very serious stuff. Depending on how much you make yourself available, a lot of people will ask for your time, to schedule meetings, to hear your words of wisdom, to complain about the things that you're doing in your ministry. There's plenty of that. Trust me. So this is why it's so important, because a pastor's job isn't just putting on Sunday services and preaching. There is so much more that goes beyond that. You got to develop your sermons and your teaching prep, right? So you got to carve out time for that. You have to have staff meetings or to meet with key volunteers and elder boards, lots of meetings that you got to do on top of one-on-one discipleship opportunities, meeting with counseling appointments and trying to get those scheduled. You also have to figure out when to send emails, when to do certain administrative tasks, how to delegate those out to other volunteers, recruiting volunteers. And on top of all of that, you still have things like buildings, finances, figuring out how to decorate your stage for the upcoming Christmas service. There's so many random things that can so easily cram a pastor's schedule. And she or he also has to find time to rest before and after their workday, and to have a Sabbath day in the midst of all of that. Unlike traditional jobs or other working environments where you have a time where you clock in, you do a set of responsibilities during the 6-8 hours or whatever, and then clock out, ministry never ends. There's always somebody you can be following up with. There's always someone that you can disciple. There's always an email you need to send, an administrative detail you got to address, or a little final sermon note that you got to wrap up. The work is never ending. So if you don't take control of your calendar, other people will take control of it for you. And if they take control of your calendar for you, you will have very little time, energy, and opportunity to make sure that you get the self-care that you need. So how do we do this, right? How do we make the most out of our calendars? You see, whether you love scheduling your own time or not, you have to be intentional with this sort of thing. So here's what I typically did. When I was pastoring in the church, and even still now, as I'm working in ministry here with the university, what I do is I have a morning ritual. I get up between 6:30 a.m., kind of depending on how much I'm wanting to, sleep in or whatever. I have a brief breakfast. I go do a workout, and I spend some time with the Lord all before I go into work at around 9 a.m. When I first get into the office, I try to clear out my emails, kind of get my day all set up. What are the key tasks that I need to accomplish for the day? But then I will always utilize my morning specifically for content prep. So this is anything from sermon prep to prepping lessons that I'm teaching, or anything that requires a lot of focus. Science actually has a term for this. They call it deep work. When you designate long periods of time for you to accomplish a certain task, you actually are a lot more efficient at getting that stuff done because you're just honed in, you're focused on one thing. And then my afternoons, when my energy levels kind of dip down a little bit, that's when I would be more ready to set up lunch meetings, do phone calls, any administrative tasks that need to happen that are just really easy for me to crank out and bang out on my computer or whatever, so that I can be much more focused and ready to meet with people as I can. But I'm also always keeping aware of what time it is and at what and how many meetings I've done through the day. Because if I have more than 2 meetings a day, then that starts to creep into some of my other work that I'm doing, so that before I know it, I've spent 4 or 5 hours meeting with people and I didn't have any time to get anything else done. That's why you got to take control of your calendar before other people take control of it for you. It would happen to me all the time. So I would try to make sure that I only did 2, maybe 3 one-on-ones a day, unless something urgent came up that I had to address with somebody else, maybe some sort of crisis that boils up that you have to take care of. And of course, there would be certain things that might happen in the evenings that you have to attend to. But when that happens, if you put in a 10 to 12 hour day because of random things that come up, you better believe that I would try to do only a 5-hour, 4-hour workday the next day between 9 and noon or something, so that I can make up that extra time I invested elsewhere. It's a dance. There's going to be days and seasons where you pour in a ton of time into the work that you have in front of you, whether that's for a day or maybe that's a week leading up to Easter or Christmas or something. And then you have to make sure you follow that up with slowing down, pulling back, and getting rejuvenated for the sake of your health and for the sake of your family. It is so essential. So in light of that, that's why it's very important for you to make note of how many meetings you're having, when the end of your workday is, and how many hours you've already spent that day or that week, so that you can make up for it some other time. Even if you have to go into your calendar app or your personal daily planner, if you like to write things out, you have to schedule rest time, so that nobody else tries to take that time, or if you forget that you were going to try to leave the office at 2 p.m. the next day or whatever, schedule it in. Schedule it in. It is of utmost importance because, again, it's going to make you work better. It's going to give greater clarity of what you can say yes to and what you should say no to. Because here's the thing, saying no to somebody doesn't mean not ever. It just means not now. You can always reschedule a meeting if someone really wants to meet with you, because chances are what they have that they think is urgent, that might take 1 to 2 hours of your time in their mind, really could take 30 minutes if you limit it to that. They can wait a day. You can say no. You can reschedule it, unless it's, of course, a crisis, in which case you would have to address as that comes up. So who would have guessed that a key principle to our ministry preparation and how we live our lives really comes down to owning our calendars before other people own it for us? Because I guarantee you, you will be a lot happier, and the Lord will be able to fully leverage you and use you when you are fully rested and at your best, so that you can pour yourself fully into those meetings and the ministry He's assigned you to. Filling your days with work and ministry doesn't mean you're going to be good at it. You have to be at your best, and that doesn't mean filling all your time with something. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Called Collective. We love you guys so much. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Check out our website. We have some really good content out there that we put up every single week, especially for blogs and other services. You don't want to miss out on that. And of course, we love you. Thanks for everything. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.